Rey Rivera's mysterious death has baffled the public since 2006. Hi, welcome to Mystery Gauge, where we talk about mysterious stories like this one. Comment down below your thought on this story and like and subscribe for more videos similar to this one. Let's start. Even before Rey Rivera's case appeared on Netflix's relaunch of Unsolved Mysteries, the perplexing narrative piqued the interest of true crime aficionados, digital sleuths, and professional investigators alike. The perplexing evidence and strange clues uncovered during the inquiry have made this unsolved case one of the most perplexing in recent history. While the Unsolved Mysteries episode brought Rey's story to a much broader audience, it omitted certain crucial elements that give even more intricacy to the case's typical narrative. To this day, fresh testimonies and evidence continue to emerge, keeping Rey's family optimistic for an update and that the truth will be revealed. On May 17, 2006, Allison Jones Rivera reported her husband Rey missing. Rey Rivera, 32, and his new wife, Allison, had only been in Baltimore for a few years when Rivera went missing on May 16, 2006. Allison, who was in Virginia for business, couldn't contact Rey by phone that evening and thought he was out drinking. Allison anticipated hearing from her husband on the morning of May 17, but her phone did not ring. Allison realized something was amiss by the afternoon. At 3 p.m., she filed a missing person report. Makita Brotman's 2018 book An Unexplained Death provides facts about the missing person sign that was plastered all around Baltimore in the aftermath of Rey's disappearance, last sighted Tuesday, May 16, at 6 p.m. leaving home in his wife's vehicle to conduct errands. I'm dressed in a pullover jacket, shorts, and flip-flops. I only have $20 in cash and no bank cards. Rey's family, friends, and wife spent the following few days searching the city for signs of their loved one. Their first major hint would not arrive until May 23. Rivera's family discovered Allison's car in a downtown Baltimore parking lot on May 23. Rivera's relatives and friends had scoured Baltimore extensively by May 23, but to no avail. On May 23, Allison's parents decided to retrace part of their routes and examine parking spots near Rivera's workplace in the Mount Vernon neighborhood. Their perseverance paid off, as Allison's black Mitsubishi Montero SUV was discovered unharmed in a lot on St. Paul Street. The car was seized and submitted as evidence by police, although it provided no information concerning Rivera's location. The lot attendant who worked on May 16 couldn't recall seeing the Montero drive into the lot, but he did see the car the next morning, May 17, when he fined it for staying overnight. The investigation had no leads until a suspicious hole was discovered in the roof of the Belvedere Hotel. 3 of Rivera's friends were looking for leads in a parking area close to the Belvedere Hotel the day after Allison's car was discovered when they noticed something unusual: a chair dangling off the edge of the hotel's roof. They made the decision to take a closer look. Rivera's pals gazed down from the top of the Belvedere onto the roof of a 2-story annex that was part of the hotel. This is when they spotted a hole in the roof of the annex, which Makita Brotman characterized as larger than a frisbee, but smaller than a hula hoop. Rivera's body was discovered in a locked, empty room in the Belvedere's 2nd-story annex. Rivera's companions understood they needed to sneak into the Belvedere's annex, but they were worried about what they might discover. The annex had housed the hotel's indoor pool, but it was turned into office space in the 1990s. At the time, the room that matched with the odd hole was empty. The 3 guys walked into the conference room, which was empty save for one startling discovery: Rivera's body. He had been absent for more than a week at that point. Authorities have made a decision: Rivera either jumped through the roof or fell through it. How did Rivera wind up in an abandoned Belvedere conference room? What circumstances led to Rivera collapsing with such force that he shattered the ceiling of the annex? While Unsolved Mysteries states that no one heard a sound when Rivera's body fell, Mikita Brotman refutes this allegation in an unexplained death. Brotman was residing at the Belvedere at the time, which is how she became aware of Rivera's case. On May 16, the night Rey died, she heard a smashing bang, which she recorded in her notebook. Brotman attributed the sound to city sounds at the time. Rivera made a leaping leap before dropping 14 stories from the top of the Belvedere's main building to the roof of its annex, according to forensic experts. The crucial unresolved component of this ongoing mystery is whether Rey leapt freely or by coercion. Rivera's shoes and cell phone were discovered near the hole when Rivera's friends noticed the hole. In the annex's roof, they saw an unnerving sight. Rivera's mobile phone, eyeglasses, and flip-flops were spread out around the hole. Rivera's mobile phone and spectacles were both undamaged, prompting some to assume the incident was staged. One of the flip-flops had drag marks, while the strap on the other was broken. How could the 6 feet 5 inches Rivera have fallen from such a height with his things strewn about the hole? Rivera's money clip was never found, although he was said to have had a keepsake from his wife in his pocket when he died. Rivera's money clip, which he carried with him everywhere, was one of the items he had with him when he left his residence on the afternoon of May 16. Authorities recovered everything of his personal items, save the clip, when his body was discovered. Rivera's money clip has yet to be discovered. Rivera's widow Allison, on the other hand, was troubled by a possession discovered in her husband's pocket, a tiny penny with a heart carved out of it. Allison had bought the penny years before as a fortunate charm for Rivera, who kept it in a bowl on top of his dresser. Nobody knows why Rivera chose to bring the penny with him on May 16. Mikita Brotman claims Rivera and his wife were frequent visitors to the Belvedere before his death. Mikita Brotman reveals information never mentioned in the Unsolved Mysteries episode in an unexplained death. Before Rey's sad death, both he and Allison Rivera stayed at the Belvedere Hotel. Brotman mentions an unsourced assertion in the book that the victim had attended the Belvedere on numerous previous occasions. The Belvedere at the time housed a saloon, the Owl Bar, and a nightclub, the 13th floor. Allison claims in the book that she went to the Owl Bar at least twice with her spouse. While she believes Rivera may have returned to the Owl Bar with his co-workers, she does not believe he ever visited the 13th floor. Mired by the hotel's lax security, the inquiry into unanswerable questions in 2006, security at the Belvedere Hotel was sporadic at best. As a result, officials were unsurprised to learn that the film captured by the roof camera on the night of Rivera's death was unwatchable due to a technical problem. This was a regular issue at the hotel, according to Mikita Brotman. Also unsurprising was that anyone could access the roof, as detailed by the official police report about Rivera. At the time, it was common for the Belvedere's staff elevator to be unlocked and for fire doors to lack functional alarms. Rivera could have conceivably reached the top of the Belvedere without being seen. The same applies for anyone else who may have been with Rivera that evening. Many assumed Rivera committed himself, while others believe he was pushed or dropped. Theories about Rivera's death vary. The forensic findings led Baltimore investigators to think Rivera committed suicide. Those closest to him said he had no history of mental illness and had no cause to conduct such a heinous crime. He'd just been married to Allison for 6 months, and they were about to relocate to Los Angeles, where Rivera planned to pursue a career as a screenwriter. I kept insisting there was something larger going on. Something is going on. I know he didn't commit suicide. Allison explains this at the start of the Unsolved Mysteries episode. Oh, says who? It's 6:30, should I leap off a huge roof? Even more perplexing was the fact that Rivera had reserved an office space in Baltimore for the weekend following his death. Rivera's troubled connection with his long-term friend and boss, Porter Stansberry, was investigated. Rivera authored stock newsletters for Stansberry's financial firm, Stansberry and Associates, which was under investigation for fraud. Given Rivera's forced fall through the annex roof, another idea gained traction. Some speculated that Rivera had been dumped from a helicopter. Through investigation, both author Makita Brotman and investigator Michael Bayer refuted this notion. Brotman maintains that people at the Belvedere would have heard a helicopter on May 16. But Bayer believes that a helicopter would have had to hover very low over the annex for Rivera to land the manner he did. Rivera's home security system was triggered twice in the weeks preceding his disappearance. Allison walks around the outside of the property she lived with her husband in 2006 during Rivera's Unsolved Mysteries episode. Allison shows out 2 locations where their house alarm system was tripped in the weeks leading up to her husband's abduction. Both attempted break-ins happened late at night. Despite the fact that no evidence was discovered from the Rivera residence, Allison remains certain that the foiled burglaries are linked to her husband's death. Porter Stansberry, Rivera's best friend and business associate, barred his company's employees from discussing the case. The Unsolved Mysteries episode delves into Porter Stansberry's possible connection to Rivera's death. Stansberry, who did not appear in the episode, allegedly refused to help with the inquiry. Following Rivera's disappearance, Stansberry prohibited corporate workers from discussing the subject in the media or with authorities. This gag order prompted concerns about Stansberry's motives, which were heightened by his unscrupulous client transactions. Stansberry was found guilty of security fraud and fined $1.5 million a year after Rivera's death in 2007. After the Unsolved Mysteries program aired, a Stansberry and Associates spokesman denied the gag order accusation. There was no gag order or directive sent to workers to not speak to the press, police enforcement, or any other party, David Chubbuck claimed. Rivera received a phone call just before he vanished, prompting him to rush out of his house. Rivera was not alone in his home on the day he vanished. Allison was gone for business on May 16, but one of her co-workers was temporarily staying at the Rivera residence. In an unexplained death, Makita Brotman discusses Allison's work friend Claudia's evidence. Claudia heard Rivera's mobile phone ring from his workplace about 4 p.m. that day. Claudia saw him hurry out the back door as though he was late for an appointment after hearing him swear. Rivera reappeared a few minutes later, but he left as soon as he arrived, almost as if he had forgotten something. He even left his office light on and his computer running. Allison and a police spokesperson both told the Baltimore Sun in 2020 that the call originated from Agora Publishing Switchboard, a Baltimore-based firm that owns numerous subsidiaries. Stansberry and Associates is one of Agora's subsidiaries. All calls from Agora's affiliates were allegedly routed through the main switchboard, from whence Rivera allegedly got the phone call. A strange note from Rivera's disappearance was discovered taped to his computer. "I stand before you as a guy who knows the purpose and significance of our secrets," says a typewritten message discovered taped to the back of Rivera's computer. This long, perplexing ruling added to the perplexity of the matter. The letter, printed in a small type, mentions a well-played game as well as deceased superstars such as Stanley Kubrick and Christopher Reeve. It also makes repeated references to Freemasons, a mysterious group Rivera had lately grown interested in. The message also cites David Fincher's 1997 film The Game. Michael Douglas plays a guy who falls through the roof of a hotel. This prompted internet sleuths to speculate on whether the message foreshadowed Rivera's fate. Allison Rivera, Rivera's widow, does not believe these claims and denies any link between her husband's murder and the game. After reviewing the message, FBI investigators decided it was not intended to indicate a deliberate act of self-harm. A mysterious person inquired about Rivera's computers with police. Terry Dunmuir, the show's creator, discussed a fresh lead on the podcast You Can't Make This Up after the Unsolved Mysteries episode aired in 2020. Muir claims that, when Allison arrived at the police station to pick up Rey's computer, the detective said that someone had phoned a number of times and requested to pick up the computers and was extremely interested in the computer's status. Allison was in a lot of pain. The identity of the caller who inquired about the machines is unknown. On the day of his death, Rivera inquired about joining a local lodge of Freemasons. Another piece of information left out of Unsolved Mysteries is that Rivera called the Baltimore branch of the Freemasons the day he disappeared in hopes of joining their organization. He also purchased the book Freemasons for Dummies on the same day. Brad Hoffman, Rivera's childhood friend who also worked at Stansberry and Associates when Rivera vanished, corroborated this interest in the Freemasons. Hoffman told the Baltimore Sun that shortly before Rivera met his end, he asked Hoffman what he knew about Freemasonry. Stansberry confirmed this in an interview with the Baltimore Sun. Rivera, according to Stansberry, also inquired about Freemasons, even asking if Stansberry had a role in Freemason leadership. At the time, Stansberry mistook it for a joke. Stansberry confirmed this in an interview with the Baltimore Sun. Rivera, according to Stansberry, also inquired about Freemasons, even asking if Stansberry had a role in Freemason leadership. At the time, Stansberry mistook it for a joke. Porter Stansberry broke his silence following the Unsolved Mysteries episode in order to contradict the show's story about how he responded following Rivera's abduction. Stansberry maintained in an interview with the Baltimore Sun that he engaged a private investigator and offered his own money as a prize during the search for Rivera. He also confronted Allison Rivera and former Baltimore cop Michael Bayer. "It's a total falsehood," Stansberry stated. "It is not an issue of personal preference. It's a sham." A gag order was never imposed on Stansberry and Associates workers, according to Stansberry. Instead, any Rivera-related queries were sent to a spokesman. Stansberry also stated that on June 23, 2006, he talked with a detective called Marvin Sidner. The episode also mentions Rivera's employment at Stansberry and Associates at the time of his disappearance. Rivera had left Stansberry 6 months previously, according to Stansberry. Rivera was instead performing freelance work for another Agora publishing company. Stansberry also claimed that no one at his firm phoned Rivera on the day he went missing. "Everyone in our firm who had worked with Rey was on the Eastern Shore at the time that call was made. We were holding a corporate retreat in St. Michael's," Stansberry revealed. Rivera's cause of death was first ruled undetermined, but according to one author, this was changed to homicide. According to Unsolved Mysteries, Rivera's death was deemed undetermined. According to Allison, the medical examiner at the time did not feel Rivera's fractured shins were consistent with a deliberate fall. Prompting the categorization, however, Makita Brotman contested this judgment in an unexplained death. Instead, Brotman claims Rivera's case is classified as homicide. This claimed categorization creates even more concerns regarding what happened before Rivera jumped from the Belvedere Hotel's roof. In any case, the severity of his injuries provides a bleak picture of what he went through in his dying moments. According to the autopsy report, Rivera suffered several rib fractures, punctured lungs, lacerations, damage to his cranium, as well as 2 separate breaks in his right leg. So what do you think about this story? Please like, subscribe and comment down below. Thank you. Goodbye.